Hey guys, what's up? It's Mr. Crayfish and welcome back to another device mod update. So I'm getting back into the development of the device mod. I was about to say demise mod, what the... Now today I've got something super exciting to announce to you guys. Now this is more so aimed at developers, not so players. So today I am releasing the early version of basically the device API so you guys can get a head start on developing apps before the proper release of the mod. Because on the release of the mod, I want to have a big gigantic repository already of apps you guys can already straight away download and start installing to your game. Now, as I just mentioned, we're actually in a special edition called the Developers Edition, and what's the difference is as you can see on the laptop here, it is orange. So before it's red, now the special laptop is orange. A lot of features have been stripped as well, so it's pretty much a lightweight version of the mod. If we go ahead and open up the laptop here, as you can see, it's just a plain orange background. We've got a watermark up the top here, developer version, and it says prototype because currently the device API is still in some major production at the moment, and some things will change. Down the bottom here, it's only basically an application list. There's no time, there's no app store, there's no settings, there's none of the apps that I've developed so far except for just this example app of all the user interface components. And it's pretty much just an empty mod. There's nothing that you can do with this at all. It's non-craftable, you have to get it through a command. This is literally aimed at developers only. Now you probably noticed that this video is super long, and that is because I'm going to be teaching you guys, the developers, how you can start developing your own apps. What I'm going to do now is show you guys, the developers, how you can actually start developing applications. Now I'm assuming you have knowledge of modding already. If you don't, I'll put a card up on the screen right now which will take you to my modding tutorial series. Now this is actually on 1.8.9, so you're actually going to need to set up an environment for 1.8.9 of Minecraft. 1.9 and 1.10 will be coming later on once I actually finish the mod in 1.8.9. I'm then going to port it over to the other versions. But for now, it's just 1.8.9, so set up an environment for that. Now the first thing that you want to do is download these two required files. Now I'll put a link in the description below. Now in the future this might actually change because I do want to set up a web page on my website for this. But if that does happen, I'll make sure I update the description here just in case you guys are watching this video in the future. So the first file is the jar file, then the second one is the Java doc. Now the Java doc is optional, you don't actually have to download it, but I do recommend you do because it's going to give you information about the API that's going to be useful to you. So we've got these two files here. What you want to do is open up your development environment. So I'm in Eclipse here. So this here is your mod class. You should already be familiar with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our package explorer, and what we're going to do is right click on our project here, go new folder, and you want to call this specifically libs. Now why you want to call it that is because when you actually build your mod, it's going to take that folder into consideration. Plus we're actually going to store our the API jar file in there as well. So we're going to open up this window here, copy our device API prototype jar there, or whatever version you might have in the future, because it might be a different one, might be like version 1.1 if the API ever gets to that stage. Paste it into the libs folder here, and then you want to right click on the jar, build path, add to build path. Now we have successfully added the device API into our mod environment. It's pretty simple. Now we're not done yet. What we've got to do now is run the game once, and you'll see why in a second here. Oh god, click on that and then click run. Now it's going to check that it is actually running. So if you go to your mods list, as you can see, we've got Mr. Crayfish's device mod running here, and then this here is our mod kind of template that we've got working just there. Doesn't have any content at all. if we actually go ahead and we try to load this world here we were just in before, even though it's installed, it says we've got some missing blocks and items. We're just going to click no there. And what you actually have to do to enable the mod, because right now it is enabled but it's not set up for the API, we're going to go quick game here, go over to your package explorer, drop down run, drop down on config, open up cdm.cfg, and then you want to change this here, enabled, to true. So enable the API, set that to true, click run again. Now if we load up this world again, we're not going to get that error, and we're ready to start developing now. So let's go ahead, let's exit the game here, and let's go ahead and let's start now. So the first thing that we're going to do is, in our package over here, we might create a new package here called .apps, just so we can organize all our applications. I'm just going to quickly change this package presentation to hierarchical, and then in that apps package, we're going to go new class, and then you want to prefix it, or kind of convention would be to do application and then the name of your application. So just for this video I'm just going to call it test, but if you're developing a serious more specific, you would actually put like something like email, I don't know, shop or something, application shop. But for this I'm just going to do test. Actually, let's call it tutorial, because this is kind of a tutorial. Then what we need to do is extend this class, extends, oops, what am I doing? Application, and then make sure you import the right one here. So application from com.mrcrayfish.device.api.app, and then make sure we add a constructor here, and then the unimplemented methods. We're going to get rid of these to-do comments here. Now what we need to do is get rid of these parameters here, and then we're going to put in some values here. So the app ID, so this is going to be something you need to make unique. So a good way to make it unique would be to use your mod ID. So we can do something like test apps.modid plus whatever the name of your application is. So mine is tutorial. Then the display name, so this is the name that's going to display in the taskbar and in the title bar of the application. So we might call this tutorial app. Now we're going to go back to our test apps class. Now we're not actually finished here. We've got to register the application, but we've also got to make it so this mod is dependent on the device mod. So in your @mod annotation at the top here, we've got to add an extra statement here, or an extra, we're going to define an extra variable here. So dependencies, you're going to make that equal to, and inside of these quotations we've got to do a special kind of syntax. So we need this mod to load after the device mod has loaded, so we simply do required dash after colon cdm, and then we're going to put an @ symbol, square bracket, opening square bracket, 1.0, and then we're going to do a comma and then a closed parenthesis. And basically what this means is this add-on is going to work in version 1.0 of the device mod and above. Now in the future this 1.0 might change depending on the API version you are using, because new features might have been added or there might have been some changes in the API, so you would want to make sure that you're using the right device mod version for the API. But for now you want to be using 1.0 because this is the first version. Now pretty much this application will work, it will just be completely blank, and we're going to test that out right now. So what you need to do is you need to, in your mod class, create an event handler for the post initialization. I've already got this set up here. And then inside of there, we're going to do application manager register application. And then inside of that, we're simply going to do new application tutorial. We've done that now. We'll go ahead, we'll press run client, and if we open up the laptop now, you'll see that we now have an extra icon here, and that is our tutorial app. We'll click and open that, and as you can see, it is completely blank. It has nothing in it. Now what we might do is create a simple chat client interface here. Now there will be some problems, and you'll see in the future. You'll see soon what's going to happen, because right now one of the components isn't really designed to handle a lot of messages, but we're just going to do this just for example. So we're going to go back here, and what we're going to do is override a method. So we're just going to go under our constructor here and override a method called initialize. Now you want to make sure that you leave this super initialize at the top here, because this actually does something in the super class here. We can't view it, but it does something. I should mention, if we go back to our package explorer here, right click on the project here, go properties, go to your build path, and then scroll into find the device API jar file. Do the drop down there, and what we're going to do is add the Java doc. So click on that Java doc location, click edit. We're going to do Java doc in archive. We're going to browse for that file on our desktop. Click on the zip file here with javadoc, the javadoc.zip, and then the path within the archive, we're simply just going to do doc. I think that's how you do it. Press OK again, and then if we actually highlight over like this here application, it just gives you a description of everything, and as you can see here as well, now it tells you what it does. So the default initialization method clears any components in the default layout and sets it as the current layout. If you override this method and you are using the default layout, make sure you call it using so only if you're using the default layout. You'll see in a second what the default layout is. Make sure you're calling super initialize, otherwise you don't really need to. We're not going to actually use the default layout, but basically what that is an inbuilt layout into the application class here. So if you were to do this.add component, that's going to go in the default layout, but we're going to do a custom one here because I feel like you guys should learn how to do custom ones. So we're going to get rid of that super initialize, and we're going to create something here called a layout, and then we're going to call this main equals new layout, and then it's the device.api.app.layout, and then we can also give it a width and a height. So maybe you want a custom size. Now there are some limitations if you did I specify? Oh yeah, there we go. Default constructor initializes the layout to a width of 200 and a height of 100. I don't think I said in that description. There's somewhere in the API I said what the max width and the max height you can set, because obviously it can't be any bigger than the screen size. But yeah, there we go. We got our first layout. This is going to be our main layout. We might just leave it as the default width and height. Then what we're going to do is create a text area. So I should mention that if we actually let's open up the Java doc. Can we open it up? So let's click on show open attached Java doc in a browser. Here we go. So let's move that over to the side here. What we're going to do is go to overview, click on this one here, component, and this is going to give you a list of all the components that we can add. So there's a button arrow, button toggle, checkbox, image, item list, label, progress bar. We've got a radio group, slider, spinner, text area, and a text field. So for this chat client interface, we're going to need a button to send a message. We're going to need a text area to put our sent messages in, and then we're going to need a text field for the input. So let's start with the text area first. So over here we're going to do text area, what do we call this, messages equals new text area, and then make sure you use the right class here. So it should be this one here with the int x, y, left, top, width and height from this class here. Now for the x and the y parameter, you want to use these values from up here, pass them in. Then how you actually lay it out is simple. We say how many pixels from the left we want, the left of the application we want it to display, so we might do 5, and then from the top we'll also do 5. For the width, what we're going to do, because the default width of the layout is 200, we're simply going to make it basically 200 take 10, because that's going to leave a padding of 5 on the entire application. So that's going to be 190. Then the height, we're going to do maybe 80. I think 80 is a good number. Now we can actually see what methods this text area has. So if you go into that, we do actually have a couple of functions you can change around here. So you can set the background color of it, you can set the border color, you can set whether it's focused or not. So if you set it focused, you can start typing. You can set the padding, so you can set the padding of it, set the text, set the color, and there's also a write text here, so you can append text to the end, and that's probably what we need to use here if you were using creating a text kind of a chat client. So for the fun of it, what we're going to do is go messages.set text color, and then we're just going to use a default kind of Java color here, maybe cyan.get, is that how it wants it? Oh no, it just wants that. Okay, so color.cyan, and then what we're going to do is add this component here to our layout. So I should mention that basically a layout is a kind of a container for all your components, and it allows you to have multiple layouts within your application, because maybe you want to have like a settings screen, or like for example, like Pixel Painter, I have like a drawing screen, then I have a load screen. Basically all those different screens are different are layouts, and then you can actually change them with by pressing a button or something. So we've added that text area to it. What we're going to do now is create a text field. Let's call this message equals new text field, and then make sure you import the right one, this one here, int x, y, left, right, and width. So again, leave them first two parameters as x and y. For the left here, we're going to do 5, but for the top, we need to go down to maybe 80. We're going to change this here to 75 instead. I'm just picturing this in my head right now. So we've got basically a padding at the top there of 5 plus the height, that equals 80. But we want to have again basically another basically a gap between this component here and this one here of 5 pixels. So now we start at actually take that down to 70. So we start at 80 here from the top. Then the width is going to again, we're not going to make it 190 because we need to include a button. So we're going to do 160, and then we're going to go main.add component message. Then lastly, we're going to add a button. So we just do button send equals new button. Make sure you again do the right one. This one here that has string in x, y, left, top, width, and height. So the text we're going to put in here is send. Let's just move that over a little bit. X and y. Left, we're going to do 5 plus 160 plus another 5, so that's 170. The top is going to be 80 because we're going to match the start of that one. The width is going to be 25. Yes, and then the height we're going to match to the text field here, which is actually, I think it's 15. We'll just do that anyway. It's really like, I already know a lot of the stuff, but it's mainly a matter of trial and error, so you guys can load up the application, or you can even like do it in debug mode and add stuff at the same time, which is really cool. We're going to do main.add add component send. So let's quickly load this up. Actually, we're not set yet. We've got one last thing to do, and at the bottom of our initialization here, we're going to do set current layout and put in main there. Now if we load up the game and we take a look at our application now, have a look at this. Okay, so it looks like the send is kind of coming out, but as you can see, I've laid that out quite perfectly. Have a look at this thing, it's like flashing. So if you typed in there, because we set the color as cyan, all the text in there is going to be cyan color. So what we want to do now is we're going to fix up that button there, make it a little bit more wider. But when we actually press the send button, we want to put this text from here into the chat at the top there. Now I'm pretty sure there's not really this text area here. I don't think there's a method right now which you can disable like input to it, because you should be able to add text to this text area but not be able to edit it. But we can suss that by looking at the documentation here. So if we go back into component here, text area, let's have a look. Set focused. Okay, it doesn't look like I've added in anything yet. However, there is hacky ways you could actually do it, but I'd rather implement a proper method. What we're going to do is come back. Let's close the game off right now, and next time we'll run that in debug mode, just so in case we have any problems. What we need to do is make it so we get the text from this text field here, and when we press the send button here, we get the text from the text field and append it to this text area. So on button here, what we can do is do send dot set click listener. Then we're going to do new click listener, and this is what you can do. Like when you press the button, you can run a piece of code here. So we have a option for the button mouse here. So you'd want to check if mouse button equals 0, I'm pretty sure. Whoops. If mouse button equals 0, so that's your normal standing click, not right click, left click. If it's left click, what we're going to do is go string text equals message dot get text. Now I also need to change this message component here to a final, so this text area is now final, because we don't want this, Java doesn't allow this to be changed, or this can't be changed if we're using it inside of a click listener, because this is a anonymous inner class. So we've got the text right now from the text field. We're going to do messages dot write text. So text to append. We're going to put in our text here. Again, we need to make messages to final. And then we're going to clear the text from the text field. So we can do message dot clear. Now we're going to run the application. I'm going to do this in debug mode. So if we go ahead, open up our tutorial app here, if we start typing in here, we didn't fix up that button, but oh well. We're going to be like, hey dudes, send. Hey! So I'm just like talking to some guys out there now. There will be a problem here, I think, if how are you? I think it's just going to put it right on the end. Yes, it is. So right now this isn't really optimized for sending a chat client, but what we can do is at here where we do write text, simply at the end we can do plus \n, and that means new line. So we're in debug mode, so that works straight away. So if we do hello, won't work on this one, but it will work now. Hi. As you can see, it's put it onto a new line now. If we type again, it could be like pretty good. Pretty good. You up for some mining? So yeah, that's a pretty basic application that does absolutely nothing, and I think will break if I yeah, as you can see, this text area here isn't supported for like scrolling yet, which I will fix up in the future, but for now it doesn't really support scrolling. But yeah, there we go. That's a really quick tutorial on how you can create an application in the device, or using the device API. Now obviously I didn't go through all the components, but they should be pretty easy for you guys to actually figure out. So again, we go to overview here, component, look through all the methods in these components to see what they do. As you can see, there's some listeners here. In the if we go back to component here, we've got a slider, and this has a bunch of options here. You can set background color, border color, the click, you can set the percentage of it. There's listeners here, so there's a release listener, and that gets called when you actually release the slider. There's a slide listener, which gets called every time you change the position of it. So when you slide it from left to right, that gets called. Slider color, a bunch of different things you guys can suss out. Now I should mention these two methods down below here in the application of our tutorial here. This is basically how you guys can save data. So one way maybe you want to save the text area messages is we can go, we'll have to create two things here. We'll call that private text area messages, and then change that, get rid of that. So we're initializing this variable up here. In our save method here, we might want to go, let's just rename that to tag. So when the application closes, we want to save the data in the chat. We'll just do tag.set string. We'll just do messages, and then call messages.getText. So that gets the text from the text area. So that's now set into the NBT tag here, and that will be saved. Then when we're loading it back up, I'm not sure if initialize gets called first before load. However, I think it might be calling the load first before calling initialize here. So what you would want to do there instead is, could probably put that potential load, this tag here inside of the initialization. I'll think about that in the future, but for now what we're going to do is just do private string text here, and then do this dot text equals changes here to tag. So we do tag dot get string message. So we set it as there, and then here we just get it as string. Is that going to throw an exception? No, it's just going to return a blank string. Then in here we're simply going to do messages.setText, put in text there, and then every time you close and open the application, it should save it, and we'll just test it out real quickly. Okay, so I just looked at the source code of the mod, and it does actually, the initialization method here gets called before this load here. So we can do messages dot set text to tag dot get string. Hopefully that doesn't return null on the get string, or doesn't return a null string, because I think that was causing a problem. I should also probably mention in the documentation that that method will get called after initialize. Let's have a look now. So we type in something like hello, send, we close that off, we open it back up, and it's not saving. Oh, okay, I know why. To actually make it save, we didn't actually look at the documentation here. Save here allows you to save data from your application. This is only called if isDirty returns true. You can mark your application as dirty by calling mark dirty. So here we're simply just going to do mark dirty. And now if we take a look at our app, type something in here, hello, press send. We close that off, we open it back up, it still says hello in it. It doesn't actually clear any of the data. And even if we close the laptop as well, we come back, it's still going to say hello. We might add another message, blah blah blah. Come back, still got it in there. So that's how you can save data in your application. Now we're pretty much at the end of this tutorial today. I do want to mention that there is a ton of other things in this API that you guys can use. Now I'm not going to go over them, but if you guys want me to do tutorials on them, let me know right now in the comments, because there are things called tasks which are really useful for developing kind of awesome applications. Now in the utils here there's a class called bank, and basically this allows you to make the player pay for something. Now it's not real money, it's in-game currency only, obviously not real money. But if you want, I can do a tutorial on how you can implement that into your application, because maybe you're creating a shop or something, a shop application. You'd most likely want to use the bank because pretty much a lot of applications are going to use it as the standard banking system. You want to use that. It's basically so you can do like online transactions like you would do in real life. There's also something here called online request as well, which allows you to make URL connections. I suggest that you use this because basically it runs in the background and it doesn't lag your interface. There are advanced things such as a list item renderer, which allows you to change the render of an item list. What else have we got here? You can write your own custom components. There's a bunch of other things in this API that you can use. It's very, very extensive. Even at this starting stage, you can do a lot of things. Now I'm gonna probably develop like some example applications which you guys can use to learn from, showing a lot of features, but I also might do video tutorials as well. But anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. I think this is going to be super exciting once a lot of developers start getting into it, developing applications. Once I get the website set up with a gigantic repository, it's going to be really awesome. So hopefully that was a good overview of how you can develop an application today. But that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.